What's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with the one and done preview for the Valspar Championship. Things are starting to get interesting in this one and done pool that I'm in. If you're new, 1,700 entries, $50 buy-in, so it's a massive pool. I've never played one of this scale before. We have 3 different entries. This is my chronicle of those entries, and it's starting to get a little bit interesting. So first off, let's look at how last week went. We'll talk about that, and then we'll see where I kind of stack up in this thing. So here are our 3 different lineups. Lineup number 1, spoiler alert, is in basically dead last. Missed 3 straight cuts in a row. Haven't made more than $100,000 in any one of these starts. We picked Phil Mickelson in all the wrong weeks. Essentially, you can see we played Phil 3 straight weeks. It got progressively better, but we didn't even get the win. But nice to know that we were on Phil at the front end of this good run that he's been on. But anyway, that lineup is absolutely brutal. Lineup number 2, we went with Ricky Fowler last week. The thought process was I wanted an under-owned stud because the WGC Mexico was a very large prize pool. I wanted an under-owned stud that could go out and win it. Fowler ended up being that guy, he was 0.79% owned, less than 1%. Unbelievable. Then we went with Dustin Johnson in our best lineup, which was, I didn't think it was going to be pretty chalky because he had been used a lot at that point of the tournament. He was like 1% owned or 3% owned or something like that. So I loved that we had 2 legit studs who could win this thing at very, very small ownerships. That was awesome. Unfortunately, neither of them won it. We got $73,000 from Ricky Fowler, which was pretty disappointing, and $239,000 from DJ. You've probably heard me say in the past, like anything over $200,000 in a week is pretty good, but to only get $239,000 from DJ kind of stinks, but I guess we have a beggars choosers situation here, so not too worried about it. So where does that put us? Because our standings are going to dictate how we're going to treat the rest of these lineups. Oh, and remember this. That's the end of segment 1. So segment 1 was this group of tournaments here, which you get paid out on. Then segment 2, 3, and 4 each pay out. And then there's another way to win, which is have the most amount of money in the majors plus the Players' Championship. So those 5 tournaments. So we've been saying all year long, we're waiting for segment 2, we're waiting for segment 2, we're waiting for segment 2. Well, segment 2 is here. Things are about to get interesting. So let's just look at our standings real quick. All right. I don't know if you can see this. Hold on. Is that our best lineup? Okay, here's our best one. We're in 714th. So what's that? A little better than middle of the pack. Okay, through segment 1, where we have basically not burned anybody outside of Dustin Johnson, and we used him in the biggest prize pool event. We got $239,000 from him, so pretty good there. Lineup number 2, down near the bottom here, so 1490th. Again, we haven't really used anybody. We've been gearing up for this this run here for the second segment, but kind of just floating around the bottom. And then a rock at the bottom is 1656. Like literally, I mean, you can see, I'm like 1 scroll away from the bottom of this sheet here. Absolutely brutal. We've made a lot more cuts than the rest of these guys, but have seen no money in the process. So what are we going to do? Well, let's talk about this. So lineup number 1, nearly dead last. We are going to go out and we are going to try to win segment number 2. We are going to blow through probably like top 10 golfers every week in segment 2. The goal of that is to try to bank as much money as we can for this segment, try to win this segment. I think I have the payouts here somewhere. Hold on. So here's the payout. So if we say we won segment 2, it would be $1,600. And they pay out the top 5 in each segment. So the goal here is to go out and try to win segment 2. If we do well in segment 2, there's a very good chance we also do well in these 2 majors. So then if we do well in those 2 majors, we can go out and try to win the other 3 and try to get that prize pool, which would be majors and the players, which I believe has the same payout. Yeah, they all have the same payout. So stoked about that. So that's our goal. So lineup number 1, we are going to run through top 10 players for the rest of the way. Lineup number 2, we're going to do something pretty interesting where I mentioned it last week. We're going to go through and we're going to set the rest of this lineup for the entire year. And we might have to tweak it if somebody gets hurt or someone doesn't play an event because we don't know who's actually going to, commit to playing an event beforehand. But we're going to go through the practice of slotting guys in based on prize pools, based on past performances. I actually started doing the research. It was a lot of fun. It was pretty cool. I've never done it before. And it was pretty awesome. So we'll go through that together. That's going to be a separate video probably later this week. But I'll just tell you who I'm going to play here for this week. And then lineup number 3, this is our best one. So we want to continue to stay with a pretty strong strategy here. Pretty straightforward. We are not going to burn through the studs like we will in segment 2 on lineup number 1. We're not going to go top 10 players every single week. We're going to save some for the end of the year. But we are going to be a little bit more aggressive in segment 2 on this lineup as well, just because I think that is where you have to make up your money. What I think we're also going to do is I don't always want to take chalk in this lineup. I'm going to try to continue to, like when we play studs, I'm going to try to find studs that I think are going to be under-owned and plug them in and try to get them at a low ownership. Okay, so we can try to jump a lot of people and still have a shot at the season-long payout here. Okay, so with all that being said, who do we have for this week? Who do we have for the Valspar? If you want the full DFS preview, go watch that. I've done it, but I'm just going to touch on a couple of guys for this week. A bunch of guys up top here. Actually, let me just do this instead. That's my dog. I don't know if you can hear him. Here he comes. There we go. Okay. So there's a couple ways we can go with this. So I mentioned Charles Schwartzel earlier in my other video, just because he is actually, over the last 4 years of guys, I guess I should actually do in this field. He's earned the most career money over the last 4 years here. If we click on him, let's see what his actual finishes were. Yeah, first place and a 6th place the last 2 years. So that's pretty strong. Not sure we're going to burn him. What we are going to do, just because he doesn't match our strategy, I'm going to have a ton of him in DFS, but he doesn't really match our one and done strategy for this week. So what I am going to do is we'll do this. In lineup number 2, I'm going to go with Adam Hadwin. Hadwin we've talked about a lot recently. 3 top 10 finishes in his last 5 starts, and he is your defending champion. So I think he's going to be pretty popular here in a one and done format. Defending champions always are, but I think that's okay. Yeah, sorry, I want to make sure I had him slotted in the right lineup. I think that's okay here because we're not going to burn a stud in lineup number 2. We're going to take a guy who's playing well and obviously has good course history because he's your defending champion, and we're going to see if he can continue to trend upwards and put up a good purse for us or a good prize for us. And then in my best lineup, which is lineup number 3, the strategy here again is I want to be aggressive on this segment. I want someone who can win, and I would prefer to have it at low ownership. I think Henrik Stenson fits that criteria. I don't know yet. His course history is stellar, right? No worse than 11th in any of the last 3 starts. But has not played on the PGA Tour. Actually, I can pull this up for you. Sorry, stand by. So I'm just pulling up the game logs on a new tab here. It's always a little slow when I have my screen recorder up. Okay, so we can look at Stenson, and let's see if we can find him here. He's not played on the PGA Tour in a true PGA Tour event since September of last year. He has played on the Euro Tour 3 times in this calendar year, 2 top 8 finishes. So what I'm hoping is that Henrik Stenson has been off everyone's radar for, 6 months. I'm hoping that he goes overlooked in this type of format. People just play, if they want to play a stud, they'll just go play Spieth, they'll go play Rose, they'll go play like Rory or somebody. I'm going to try to go a little bit contrarian, and I'm going to take Stenson. He's 20-1 to win. Same odds as Paul Casey, just behind Justin Rose. Like, those are pretty good odds, especially with the great course history that he has here. So Stenson is going to be the guy that I slot into lineup number 3. Who did I say? Adam Hadwin here, defending champ, in lineup number 2. Which I think are 2 pretty solid plays. Again, we're trying to be very aggressive on this segment. But the one we're going to be uber aggressive on is lineup number 1. And we are going to pick one of the favorites every single week for the next 9 weeks. This week it's going to be Rory McIlroy. So I'll type in Rory's name here. And reason being, so here he is, 14-1 to win it. He is your second best odds in this field. And obviously, I'm a big Rory fan. He's got to get the putter figured out a little bit, but we're going to pick a stud, and we're going to be very aggressive. And I think what you're going to find in the next couple of weeks here is you're just going to see a ton of big names. I don't know how many people are going to be on Rory. I'm really interested to see the ownership that pops off for these 3 guys. Like, I expect Hadwin to be pretty popular. I'm hoping Stenson is not, but his course history could drive it up. But I usually think that recent form drives ownership more than course history, and Stenson's kind of been off the radar for a bit. And then Rory, I bet you a lot of people are saving him for some other tournament, like the Open Championship or somewhere else, right? So I bet we get Rory pretty low owned here. Okay, that's who I'm going with. Those 3 guys for those reasons. Again, stay tuned. I'm going to make another video probably this week where we're going to go through the entire second lineup. We're going to fill it out for the rest of the year. I started looking at it. It was fun. I suggest you check it out. It was a pretty cool exercise to go through. Let me know who you're playing. If you think I have a shot at this, if I should be blowing through all of my players in segment 2, I think that's the strategy we should be going with. Let me know if you think differently. Talk to you guys soon. Good luck.